What made you start the carnivore lifestyle? This one is huge. Huge. This question basically redefines, well, not this question, this decision that I made essentially has redefined and shaped so much of my life. So, back in 2017, I remember Joe Rogan ripped the podcast with Sean Baker. And Sean Baker is a medical doctor from the United States that is probably one of the biggest world-renowned carnivore advocates out there. And at that time, I was actually deep in conversation with a good mate of mine that was also very, very into this way of eating. And we would just go like, I would literally come over to his house, we'd train, and in that training period, we'd just be going back and forth about nutrition, training, lifestyle. And at that point in time, he was a carnivore. And I thought it was pretty crazy. Obviously, at surface level, oh, you're only eating meat. Yeah, it sounds pretty full on. But after I heard the podcast, and I'm the type of guy that I always question things. I'm never led to believe something immediately. I'm always questioning the narrative of what's going on in the world. And I looked into the carnivore diet. Now, it's not that I was like not eating a heavy amount of meat. Obviously, coming from a Greek background, meat is on the forefront of most of our meals. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. So I did it. I thought I'm never going to know unless I actually try it. So I went hard for 3 months straight. Just meat. And I was going to say much to my surprise, but it was really everything that I expected and more. Now I say everything I expected because prior to me actually taking it on board, I did extensive amount of research. I had obviously listened to the podcast. I had listened to multiple other podcasts with Saladino, with Baker, with Dr. Ken Berry. I was pretty informed on how to approach this way of eating. I didn't just strictly go, I'm just going to eat meat. There's obviously ways that you want to go about it in the correct manner where, you have your ratios in the correct way and all that sort of stuff, making sure that you're hydrated, not just from a water standpoint, but a mineral standpoint as well from electrolytes. So after doing it, man, I felt amazing. It just made sense. And the further deeper I went into it, I started to understand that this isn't just a diet. Once you become carnivorous, it changes your entire perspective on life. You look at things differently. You start to question everything. And it's almost like a cult-like behavior, if I'm honest with you. Now, I don't want to get all kind of like culty on you, but when you start eating carnivorously, you start looking at the world differently. Your energy levels are completely different. And I've found that a large proportion of people that are carnivores, just like anything that is very, cult-like behavior, that's very definitive of someone, when someone I find is a carnivore or eats very carnivorously, it's not that that's how do I say it? People that are carnivores, it's not just they're carnivores, I will have a lot of other similarities with these carnivores that goes far beyond just eating meat. Because when you only eat meat, you start shaping the way you look at, firstly, nutrition. And then when you look at nutrition a certain way, that takes you down other little rabbit holes. And all these rabbit holes are like intertwined with the carnivore people. So it's more than just a way of eating. It's almost a way of life. And this goes inside with, the low carb community, the keto community. It's about optimizing your life with the removal of carbohydrates and not being a prisoner to hunger hormones, disruptive hunger signals that the large proportion of the human population goes through because they are so insulin resistant because of the way they eat. Whereas when you become carnivore, it almost just makes sense. And the one thing that I dislike about it is the fact that it is so restrictive, but I also love that as well. Now, I dislike the fact that it's so restrictive because not everyone can do this. Not everyone has the ability to say no to a large portion of foods. I had to say no to my mother on Mother's Day. She cooked us a traditional Greek meal. And I had said that this period of time, I am being a strict carnivore. And I don't care if it's Mother's Day, and I don't care if you've cooked the food, Mum. I'm bringing my own steak. And because that's so restrictive, the large portion of human beings are unable to do that. And that breaks my heart. Because they are unable to do it, they are unable to experience my experiences and the way I feel, I operate, and the frequency in which I bring to this planet Earth is far different. Right now, as a fat adapted carnivore athlete, compared to when I was eating carbs, I was fueling off carbs, sugar addicted, making excuses for, oh, I need to eat carbs. But really, it was my brain saying, nah, man, you're addicted to sugar. So that is why I started the carnivore diet. I gave it a crack. It made sense to me. And once I did it and I felt how good I felt and even started looking the way I looked, it was undeniable. It was undeniable. And now I've made it my mission to spread this message to everyone and even help athletes that have been indoctrinated by modern day nutrition. You have to eat carbs. You have to eat carbs. You need carbs for fuel. It's bullshit. I'm planning to do a marathon later on this year. Guess what's going to fuel me? My fat. You watch me complete the marathon. Fasted as well. Because that is the way the human body optimally works. Now, that's not to say carbs can't fuel you. But, again, when you eat carnivorously, you look at the world differently. Because there's people out there that preach if it fits your macros and stuff like that and you'll lose weight. Yeah, sure, you will. Don't get me wrong. Yes, you will. But if you're eating crap to fuel you and thinking that, well, I'm just going to burn the calories on a workout, then it's going to be all good, you're failing to realize that you are damaging your metabolic health. And people don't look at that as deeply as what the carnivores do. And unfortunately, for the large portion of the population, until they get into their 30s, 40s, where they've had 15, 20 years of abusing foods which they thought was okay because they weren't gaining weight. And now it's indoctrinated within their system to eat it because they only looked at health markers of whether they were fat or not. Now that they've done that for so many years, they've essentially become pre-diabetic. And there are a lot of athletes out there that can consume 50% of their calories through carbohydrates for over a decade. And they stop training and they continue those habits and now they become diabetics. And that is why the carnivore diet and the low carb community look at life, look at training through the lens of optimal health above all else. And that resonated so deeply with the person that I am. Truth-seeking, ultimately, truth-seeking. I'm not one to lie. I dislike people that lie. And the carnivore diet, in my opinion, ultimately set you on a blank canvas to speak nothing but the truth. And that's why it resonated with me, and that is why I preach, and on top of that, I practice it. If you like this video, drop me a thumbs up. Don't forget to like it. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my Instagram, Chris Mars is Fit. I answer questions every Tuesday. I go live every week. I post daily tips and tricks that can help you becoming a faster, stronger, fitter athlete. And like I said, an overall better human being. I'll catch you on the next one.